you know that agribusiness is amongst the top businesses in the world that rarely fail? The failure rate in agribusiness generally in the entire world is very, very low. So ideally, it doesn't matter what type of agribusiness you do, the likelihood that you will be present 5 years, 10 years from when you start is very high. Why? Because in agribusiness, everything is required. Everything is required, despite the fact that startup costs are generally higher compared to a lot of other types of businesses. For example, internet-based businesses, the failure rates are very low. For example, for me right here, I produce chickens on the farm. I also produce goats, I produce sheep, I used to produce milk. Right around me here, I see people, they have, grown crops. I see a lot of, cassava, a lot of sweet potatoes. So on the farm, everything that's produced is consumed. And so because of that, the likelihood that an agribusiness will fail is very low. But there are agribusinesses that are literally a gold mine. If you get into them, your chances of succeeding are not only very high, but you have a very high possibility of growing rich and making a lot of money. So in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you the top 5 that I know and discovered will make you properly rich. Number 5 is goat farming. Now, I'll put this together with sheep farming, because I personally have grown goats and sheep. I've grown them to numbers upwards of 800, and I know that they can make you rich. Now, in comparison to other animals like cattle, growing goats is actually quite cheap. I personally have a huge bias to cattle because compared to cattle, goats eat way less, they need less space to consume, but also they take up way less medication, way less medication, yet their meat is way more costly compared to, for example, beef. And also managing them is quite easy compared to, for example, managing chickens, managing cattle. So goat business is one of those things that's really exploding. I mean, just type in goat business on YouTube. You're going to see how many other videos you're going to see about goat farming. So goat business can actually be very profitable. The other thing is that they generally multiply quite quickly compared to a lot of other animals. Actually, together with sheep. Sheep are even a better option because they multiply even quicker than goats. You understand? So they are a very, very good business to get into, especially if you're a person who wants to do farming but you don't have too much time. Monitor a chicken farm like I do have right here. It's quite easier if you're doing goats. Again, you're not going to need too much startup capital. You can just start up with a few goats, maybe 10, 20 goats, good breeds, and then just let them grow over time. It will literally be passive income for you because you don't need to be present. And before you know it, you'll have 100, you'll have 200 goats and sheep. So pay keen attention to the goats and sheep, and they can make you very rich. You can make a lot of money from this. Number 4 is poultry farming. Now, this has really made me rich. I'm saying this from experience. I'm a living testimony. I can put up my hand if they say, someone come up with a testimony in poultry farming. Because I even quit my job as a doctor simply to concentrate on poultry farming. You understand? Why? Because I discovered that it can make you rich. So when it comes to poultry farming, there's a lot of things you can do. You can do chickens for meat. You can do chickens for eggs. You can also do chickens for feathers, but that's not very commonly done. And the different types of chickens you can do the local chickens. Those ones, they are quite easy to keep in an organic form, so you sell them as organic chicken. It's quite difficult to raise them in huge numbers when it comes to, local chickens. But you can also do dual purpose chickens. Those ones you can raise a bit in larger numbers, in a more confined space, but you can also do it in an organic way. And then there is also the layers and the broilers. For me, for example, I have specialized a lot on doing layers and doing breeders because I supply the old chicks to different farmers all around the country, all around the world, in different parts of the world, and it is something that I've specialized in. The margins also when it comes to raising chickens are actually quite high. You have really good margins on this. If you can manage to keep your cost of production down, if you can manage to prevent diseases from coming onto your farm, then you will certainly make a lot of money. I mean, a lot of money. I've made a lot of videos about how much money you can make from poultry farming. I leave a link to some of those videos down in the description. This channel is full of videos about how to start a poultry farm, how to grow a poultry farm, how to manage a poultry farm. Poultry farming is typically very lucrative. You can make a lot of money. The other advantage is that, you see, chicken meat is the most commonly eaten meat all around the world. It's eaten more than beef, it's eaten more than goat's meat, it's eaten more than mutton, it's eaten more than rabbit meat. It's an awesome type of meat because the demand is so high. So it doesn't matter which type of poultry farming you go into, it's very unlikely that you'll go wrong with it. So I typically advise you to go into poultry farming because it's going to make you rich. Number 3 is beef farming. Now, this is another awesome one that I've actually done, but because I didn't pay too much attention to it, I haven't actually followed through it to get the very best results. But what I know is that it's very lucrative. I mean, imagine all the products that you know all around the world that utilize honey. Just imagine what they are. And how many farms that produce honey have you seen? A lot of people who actually do produce honey do it either from the wild and intentionally. It's not like something that's very intentional for a lot of people. There are very few beef farms on the world, you know, that are actual apiaries, that are very intentional about producing honey. And it's a very expensive product. You know, just 1 liter of proper honey is very expensive. So it is a business that I would really recommend a lot of people to get into. And the only product is not honey, you know, the only product is not honey. Despite the fact that honey is the main product, there are other products. For example, the bee poison, is it called poison? I don't know, what is it called? It's utilized in a lot of things. You can choose to concentrate on that. The other thing is the combs themselves from the bees. They are utilized for a lot of things. The other thing are the bees themselves. In a lot of places, a lot of different kinds of farms, people don't have agents to pollinate their crops, yeah? People don't have agents to pollinate crops, and when they don't have agents to pollinate crops, bees are the best option because bees are very good pollinators of crops. People growing commercial farms, you know, 1,000 acres, but you don't have agents to pollinate crops. What do? You go and get bees from a commercial farm, come and utilize them on your farm. So if you can utilize and go into bees, the thing with bees is that looking after them is so easy. As long as you've got your hives and you place them, you're almost assured of making money once you have the bees colonize them, because you're not going to have a lot of running costs. You don't have expenses like treating bees. I've never heard of a bee that gets sick. You understand? It's all about maintaining them, making sure that insects don't attack them, which honestly is not too expensive. It's quite cheap. So I advise you 100% to go into bee farming if you can find a way of getting into bee farming. It's awesome. You'll enjoy it and you'll make a lot of money farming bees. Number 2 is pesticide production and distribution. Now, this is a no-brainer. Yeah, it's a no-brainer. Despite the fact that it's probably a little bit harder to produce pesticides for the normal everyday person. Unlike the others, you know, anyone can go into goat farming, anyone can do poultry farming, anyone can do beef farming. For you to do pesticide production, you need to have a bit of more technical ability because you need a bit of machinery, equipment, some chemical understanding. But imagine all the crops that are grown. I mean, when I look all around me right now, all I see is crops. People have started to plant. All these people are going to need pesticides, yeah? Now, of course, a lot of people are against the use of pesticides, and it's understandable because, you know, people want to go organic. It's chemicals. But in all reality, we can't do away with pesticides, yeah? Even the people who are saying and they're against pesticides, in all reality, we need pesticides because it's the only way we're going to have enough food to feed the entire world. There are pests that are attacking people's crops, and if we don't use pesticides, then how are we going to get enough food? So if you go into the pesticide production, but if you can't do production, you go into the pesticide distribution, you're going to make a lot of money. Despite the fact that sometimes margins might be low, which is actually not the truth because the margins are high, the desire for them and the requirement for them is so wide. It's so wide everywhere. Crops are being grown everywhere, and all these people need pesticides. If you can produce them, if you can distribute them, if you can sell them, then you're going to make a lot of money off them. Finally, number 1, livestock feed production. Now, this has the craziest possibility of making you rich when it comes to agribusiness, because everyone who grows animals is going to need livestock feed. If they're growing animals on a level which is commercial, they're going to need livestock feed. For me, for example, right here, I have chickens, you know, I'm raising chickens. Currently, I consume almost 1 ton, that's 1,000 kilograms of feed each and every day, yeah? And people don't have the technical ability, the technical know-how of actually making a lot of this feed. Those who do try, a lot of them make mistakes, and because of that, their animals don't grow up well, yeah? So because of that, a lot of people actually have to go and buy this feed. And if you can produce this feed and make sure that it's reliable, that it gets the best results for the clients, then you're 100% going to get a lot of farmers coming to you to buy from you feed. And the margins can be very, very, very crazy high, because if you can buy the raw materials when the prices are low, store them and utilize them to produce this feed, store this feed properly and utilize it for when the prices are high, you're going to make a lot of money. A lot, I mean a lot of money. So I advise you, if you can go into livestock feed production, of course it's not easy because it requires a lot of technical ability, a lot of technical know-how, and honestly, in all reality, not too many people understand how to do this. But if you can go into it, implement it, get the very best product and put it outside there, this has the easiest way of actually getting you to the top in terms of making money. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, smash the notification bell, that way you never miss out on an upload. Catch you very soon with another video. Lots of love. Bye-bye.